Taryn is a 2021 American dark comedy thriller film that is written and directed by Coke Daniels. It also stars Taryn Manning. Now, this movie is a reference to the stereotype by the same name, honestly. Malik and Amani are a young black couple who move into a new house in the suburbs. When they arrive, they are greeted by a seemingly friendly white neighbor named Karen Drexler. However, this facade slowly reveals a bitter jealousy, anger, and a racist woman who wants to remove the couple from the neighborhood at any cost. Now, honestly, I did not know anything about this movie existing. This movie kind of swept under the rug, and this movie is not really one of those blockbuster hits that everybody knows and talks about. But when people know about this film, and critics, which not a lot of critics reviewed this film, and it surprised me. And I think it's because of what the film represents. But I found out about this film with a good friend of mine named Danica, and she normally gives me good recommendations of films for me to check out and to review. She told me about New Order, and she hasn't let me down. And by me watching this film that she told me about, this is a big shout out to you, Danica, if you're watching this. She still holds the torch, because this movie is enjoyable, and I suggest you guys to check this film out. The movie doesn't drag at all. The movie actually picks up pretty quickly. As soon as the movie starts, you already have Malik and Amani moving into the neighborhood, and things begin to kick off pretty quickly. Now, we don't really get a lot of indication with Amani and Malik's character, only like to the point where we know that Malik and Amani are a strong-willed black African-American couple, and you need that in this film due to the interracial conflict that's going to happen to these two characters. And they're honestly, even though they were strong, they were witty, they were more like self-aware of certain situations. I kind of wish there was more to their story, other than them trying to have a family, but they're going through certain problems when it comes to stress, financial issues. I kind of wish they dug more to that so we can be more drawn into the characters. But I understand this movie is focused on Karen's character, how she represents her visuality towards African American culture, and how she exposes this in a very mean, chilling, and unique way. Now, I like this film because she is not the type of character that would just go out and just say the N-word all the time. I hate niggas, I hate this, I hate that, I hate what they do. But what she does is very unique. What she does is that when she sees an African American, or when she sees an African American couple approach her, she approaches it in a nice way, but at the same time she gravitates to it and she attacks it in an intelligent way to try to test out their brain. And what I like about this film is that she fails. She fails miserably. But it's what she sees, is what she's aware of when she thinks about how we present ourselves, when it comes to us having tattoos, when it comes to us listening to music, the cars we drive, and the food we eat. She thinks that just because we're not like them, we are uneducated, we are unaware, and at the same time, we are not really that independent. Karen's character, she attacks the African American culture without being, without pulling out that N-word card. She wants to try to see how you're going to be when it comes to you getting the tough questions asked. And with Karen's character that is played by Taryn Manning, I hated her. I hated her character because, well, she did good. That's what made me hate her. And her character is relatable because I have been through characters that can relate to Karen, that can relate to Taryn Manning's character. But what surprised me was her playing that role, because I don't know if people recognize this, but she actually plays a white prostitute from Hustle and Flow. That was a long time ago, but for her to start off by fucking a black man to fuck a black man, period. It's amazingly interesting, in my opinion. Taryn Manning's character did an amazing job. Now there was a lot of times when she actually gets questioned by her racial remarks, and there are times where she actually tries to tell people that I'm not racist, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. There was even a time where Malik and Amani actually invites her to their get together in the house, and it's filled with African Americans. So I understand why they done this, because they wanted to try to test how she's going to be when it comes to being around a lot of African Americans. And of course she says some racial shit, and they question her about that, and she says that she's not racist. And I like with one character, she tells her that you may not be racist, but your ancestors was. So in a sense, you know, bad habits can grow among siblings. And I like that. That was actually a powerful speech. But there's a lot of powerful speeches in this film, but that one actually got me, because at the same time, I'm sorry, my glasses. Movies like this need to be talked about more. Movies like this needs to be expressed more, and this is the reason why I'm surprised that a lot of critics are not talking about this film, because it needs to be addressed. It needs to be expressed, and it needs to, like, people need to know about this film existing. And I can understand why people are not talking about this film, because of what the film represents. But I feel like, well, with me, my channel is not mainstream, so I don't have nothing to lose. I mean, maybe it's because of the acting, which I can relate to. The acting on here could have been done better. Like the acting could have been more powerful. And that's one of the main problems of the film, is that the acting was not really memorable. Not Oscar worthy, but I'm just saying, like, it's the acting was a little dull, lackluster. The other problem is the thrilling scenes. There were some times where they would fight. There were some times where there was a lot of tension involved in the film. But there was some times where I would notice where there would be some scars among the characters, or there'd be some traces of blood, and the blood would look fake and animated. So I mean, I'm nitpicking, but I'm saying that, you know, it could have been done better. But other than that, like, that's just certain things about the film that could have been fixed. But other than that, everything else, when it comes to, like, the criminology, and at the same time the pacing and the dialogue, was pretty good. It owned the film. And like I said, with Taryn Manning as Karen's character, she did a lot of exposure when it comes to the white supremacy of how they visualize us. And not only that, but she's not alone. Whenever, like, people will call her out on her racial bullshit, she actually has a brother that's a police officer that can back her up and try to cover up situations to make her be the victim, to make her feel as if make her be innocent. So she has a motive, she has a plan. So at the same time, the movie itself and what the movie represents is just showing you, it's shedding light to just being aware of just how people can be when it comes to seeing how you are first without seeing how you are on the inside. Now, the movie is not great. The movie is not an Oscar-worthy performance, but I know what this movie represents. I know what this movie is trying to explain, trying to express. And I feel like just because a movie is lacking a little bit of acting perfection and the CGI when it comes to the blood and the violence, I feel like that should not be that shouldn't give it a low rating, or critics should not review this film. I feel like a movie like this should be talked about, should be expressed, because the movie is way more than that. And you know what? Honestly, it actually focuses on the mindset of the African American male as well, and the African American female, because it shows you the pressure that we have to go through when it comes to us being ourselves around other colors, other races. People who looks at us and they see us as Negroes first, then African Americans second. And the reason I'm saying this is because they don't talk about it, but they show it to you. So by you watching this film and you're not being that color, I can see how you can miss that. But it indicates so much stuff. It sheds light on so much things when it comes to communication, humor, you having a job, and whites other races would want you to hire them, but if you're black and you want to work with them, it would be hard for you to get that job. So it shows so much compelling things about this film that people would obviously miss that it's not African American. So I can kind of understand why people are not reviewing this film, because it's so much stuff that people can miss. But for people like me that is African American and is a critic, I had to review it. I had to talk about it, and I was going to do that regardless. So by this film getting so much low ratings, suck reviews from people who did review the film, I feel like they did not. I feel like they missed the point of what this film actually dictates and what this film is attacking on, other than just Karen's behavior towards the African American culture. This film is actually showing you the pressure that we have to go through when it comes to dealing with everyday life, being ourselves, and just trying to be accepting, trying to have society accept us. Even by the end of the film, where there was another speech that gravitated me to the point where I felt what the character was saying that all lives will only matter if Black lives matter as well. Movies like this needs to be watched. I'm gonna have to give Karen a B-. I think that's a fair rating in my opinion. Now, this movie is enjoyable. This movie is good, but it's subjective, because you have people that it's in a light fuse of watching films like this that deals with a lot of interracial exposure. But with me, honestly, I felt a lot of things that was going on with this film. And did it make me feel uncomfortable? No, it felt like I felt as if, okay, I dealt with that before, so at least I'm not alone in this. I feel like every African American person that is an adult has dealt with some racial remarks, you know. And so with a film like this, I can understand if you feel uncomfortable, if you don't want to watch it. But the reason why I'm saying you should watch it is because this movie needs to be more than just an underground film. This movie needs to be a Kickstarter, in my opinion. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for more of my upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and you guys have a damn good day.